Brought to you by.
Participate in the 545 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 545 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank, our bank.
Hello and good evening. Thank you for joining us on the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Museveni condemns coups as a means of changing governments. Prime Minister Nabanja in bilateral talks with the Chinese ambassador to Uganda. Olanya tells the youth leaders to use available opportunities to prosper. And UBC UMC Vision Group request for more funds. All these in our news tonight. Now to start off, President Yoweri Museveni has spoken out on the recent military coups that have happened in Africa, saying that they are unnecessary and were outlawed by the African Union. In the 14-page statement released this Friday, President Museveni observed that military coups that have taken place in Mali and Guinea must be evaluated by the African freedom fighters to correctly take a principled stand. In his statement, President Museveni re-echoed his condemnation of the recent coups as earlier carried by France 24 television channel during an exclusive interview. Museveni says that when it comes to these new coup d'etats in West Africa, 3 questions must be asked, including what is the ideological stand of these coup makers? Whom are they overthrowing in terms of ideology and aims? And also, what right do these coup makers have when it comes to interfering with our destiny? Museveni said that he has failed to know the ideological position of the coup makers, adding that there are clues that show that they may not be part of the freedom fighters. According to Museveni, the present chaos in many parts of Africa is on account of not fully implementing the goals of the elder freedom fighters, adding that it is for that reason why he can't give up the struggle for these strategic goals. And that was an interview with France 24. Now moving on, Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has met with the local government leaders of Kayunga district to discuss matters related to service delivery in the area. Now this was during a follow-up meeting where that was organized at her office in Kampala. Let's take a look.
The Prime Minister, Right Honorable Robin Nabanja, has called upon the district leaders of Kayunga to embrace and utilize the opportunities availed by the NRM government to enhance development in the area. She said they need to focus on supporting leadership that has capacity and will to serve the people.
Tebandike politics in Norway. Tetula kuba musumali kusembayo oli mukusumulula. Osumulula bakuja batya? Musumulula osula ebirika byoyaga. So njagala okumusaasira muntu wange mwana muto kanaba kuyiga. Naye kye mulina okumanya nti gavumenti ya NRM amazima eri committed okulaba nga tuwa service. Tekyasanyusa kulaba abantu bali nga tebalina bwe batambula. In fact, njagala kwongerako ebyate eddala. Amaka abiri kubanga amasomero gagenda kuddamu ssaawa yonna. Abaana bangambye abasinga basomera eno Ganiraalo. Si kyekyo? Kakati eryato limu litwala abaana bameka? Nga 5 oba 6. Ate almost bamalamu essaawa. Osanga ekkubo liggadde. Kati abiri gabenga galeeta, abiri nga gakola ki? Nga gazzaayo.
The Premier cautioned against disunity among the leaders and urged them to focus on service delivery. She pledged to provide food relief to the flood victims in Kayunga and said the government is making plans to tarmac the road in Kayunga.
Ogo president yamulazanya wabawo mubalitwala mu first place olujewa federal ogulo wa NRM government amasanyalaze ga NRM government
The district leaders thanked the Prime Minister for taking the initiative to resolve conflicts among the area leaders and pledged to work with the government to foster unity in the area and enhance service delivery. Doreen Nasasra reporting for UBC News.
In another development, the Prime Minister Nabanja also today held talks, the bilateral ones, with the Chinese ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Zhang Lizong. The two discussed a wide range of issues with particular emphasis on development cooperation. Now, the meeting took place at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala, and these are the details.
Uganda's relationship with China dates far back as 1962. Today, China is one of the leading trading partners in Africa and Uganda in particular. Chinese companies have contributed significantly to the building of infrastructure in Uganda. While hailing the Chinese cooperation with Uganda, Prime Minister Nabanja asked her guest to expand Chinese investments in Uganda to include agriculture modernization. She informed the ambassador about Uganda's parish development model, which is expected to increase production in agriculture and therefore the need for modern agro-processing technology.
The relationship we have between the two sister countries, that is Beijing and Kampala. I want to thank you for a number of numerous companies that are helping us to develop our country. We have a number that I know are government owned. And of course, I also want to welcome to my office. And first of all, thank you for being our link between the government of China and the Republic of China and Uganda.
On his part, the Chinese ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Zhang Lizong, congratulated Uganda for the progress so far made. He particularly hailed the president for his effort to pacify the Great Lakes region.
China and Uganda are helping each other. We have provided some PPEs and some vaccines, experience sharing with Uganda side to help each other to conquer this pandemic.
The ambassador pledged continued mutual cooperation between the two countries. He said China will broaden investments in Uganda's established industrial parks. So far, the Chinese government has invested in a cross-section of industrial parks in Uganda. He assured the Prime Minister that the Chinese government will provide more COVID-19 vaccines to Uganda to ensure that the whole country is adequately covered. In another development, the Prime Minister also met a delegation from Aga Khan Development Network led by Amin Mawaji, the diplomatic representative. The Prime Minister, Nabanja, thanked the Aga Khan Development Network for supporting Uganda's development effort. The Aga Khan has invested in health, education, infrastructural development, gender and women empowerment, among others. The leader of the delegation, Amin Mawaj, said the Aga Khan Foundation has been here for more than 100 years. He said development is their major focus. Doreen Nasasra reporting for UBC News.
Now, in another development, the Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah, has urged youth leaders to use the opportunity they have to address the challenges they face. Oulanyah was speaking to youth leaders at the 4th Youth Parliament held in the chambers this Friday.
Ezra Ambasize Rwashande.
The 4th Youth Parliament this Friday started with the election of Ambasize Ezra as Speaker and Asina Halima as his deputy. While addressing Youth Council leaders at the 4th Parliament, Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oulanyah said youth should not wait to become members of Parliament to cause change.
Wherever you are, don't wait to be anything else or anybody else. The struggle begins from exactly where you are. That's your front line. So if the target is youth empowerment, is solving youth unemployment issues, the struggle begins from where you are. That's your front line. The question is, how do you extend your front line, join with others to extend the frontiers for the fight against those challenges that you are targeting. So the struggle actually begins from where? Don't wait. I'll first be a member of parliament, then I said, no. Where you are is your front line.
Referring to the daily parliamentary prayer, Ola urged youth leaders never to lose focus whenever they deliberate on issues concerning the people they represent.
And consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. That's the prayer. In other words, whatever you do, never lose focus of the interests of the people that God has committed to your charge. And that's the point we keep making every day in this house. Remember them.
To the chairperson of National Youth Council, Jacob Eyeru, youth as emerging leaders should start having conversations that are consistent with global interests and sustainable development, not just for their own selves, but for generations to come.
The National Youth Council believes that the 9.5 million youth population in Uganda can lead the way in achieving a better world of action against climate change. We believe our dreams should be big enough to cause physical impact, and our hope should be reflected in the actions and introduction of a paradigm shift in how we act from what we say in this country.
Among the 7 motions that were overwhelmingly supported included that urging government to put in place post-COVID recovery measures for the economic transformation of youth and employment opportunities, and the one urging government to address the mushrooming teenage pregnancies and their implications on the girl child education and their social entrepreneurship. The National Youth Parliament is an important political legislative space for a creative advocacy vehicle that brings together youth from civil society organizations, Uganda National Students Association, and the country at large to deliberate on issues of youth. Bernard Higa, UBC News.
Very, very vibrant house right there. Now, in other news, members of the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources have commended the technology used in the construction of the Katosi water treatment plant. Now, the Natural Resources Parliamentary Committee had paid a courtesy visit at the green plant to ascertain whether there is value for money.
The Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources has visited the just-finished Katosi water treatment plant to ascertain whether there is value for money. The committee, that was led by its chairperson and also West Budama legislator Emmanuel Otara, appreciated the diversity of programs that have been earmarked by National Water, especially fighting the challenge of climate change.
As government, we need to move a step ahead and allocate additional resources to enable National Water to perform its function. In addition to appreciating the fact that whatever they collect from the people, they just plow back to expand on the infrastructure that will enable them to deliver water to various parts of the country. So the commitment is there. My committee will address the issue of adequate resource allocation once we begin scrutinizing the ministerial policy statements.
Otara says they are to look into issues of budget allocation, and it is upon the corporation to lead in restoring the 3 billion shillings cut by government. He says National Water and Sewage Corporation has developed the capacity to supply free and safe water to all and has a clear strategy of taking up each and every citizen.
But of course, you know, the cut was as a result of the COVID situation. But water is life. And so that's why we believe the cut shouldn't have happened in the first place. And moreover, it happened when you are encouraging people to wash their hands. How do you make a cut? So we've now put it across to him to make the initiative of saying, yes, we want a supplementary budget.
The parliamentarians planted trees as a norm of the corporation. The Managing Director, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Dr. Engineer Silva Mugisha, says the visit of the committee and its appreciation will elevate them to another level.
They need to exercise their role, oversight role. And that was the purpose of this visit, to bring them here, give them the information, but also make them see one of the outputs of the loans that they approved. So for me, I think this was a very good occasion to bring the new members of the board on board as far as national water activities are concerned, the challenges we are facing, and also the plans we have for the future.
He, however, cited challenges of inadequate infrastructure that cannot cope with the population. Engineer Dr. Silva Mugisha attributed the unregulated deteriorating water quality to unregulated human activities in water catchment areas. The chairperson, Board, National Water and Sewage Corporation, Engineer Badru Chigundu, says the Katosi water treatment plant is among the projects finished on time.
I would like to thank you honorable members for the continuous support that has enabled us to blossom and effectively deliver services to Ugandans. I also wish to thank our partners who have continuously collaborated with us in delivering our mandate.
National Water and Sewage Corporation has strategic interventions to change its game, including the mobilization of funds to downstream sewage collection infrastructure for development. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Management and other sister agencies are calling for further and timely funding by government to enable them serve their purposes. And this was highlighted by the Managing Director of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Winston Agaba, and other sister agencies during their closing ceremony of the two-day retreat organized by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Let's take a look.
Retreat for the Ministry of Information, Communications, Technology and National Guidance has ended.
If you watch UBC, the images are very good now. The images are good, the programming is improving, but we are not there yet, so we continue. And under the digital transformation program is where we are continuing to procure more transmission equipment so that we cover geographically the whole country eventually, but also ensure that the signals of UBC are clear but also stable.
Many of you might be aware that UBC, we do run 4 television stations. UBC TV, that is the main, Star TV, that is the Uganda station, Magic 1 HD, an entertainment channel mainly, and U24, that we are planning to make sure that it becomes a platform where all the communication on development is carried.
The meeting was characterized by agency and sector presentations.
Honorable members of Parliament, the lockdown has affected our businesses very adversely. For us who depend on largely advertising revenue, when you have schools closed, you have places of worship closed, you have entertainment places closed, we are basically out of business.
The Managing Director, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Winston Agaba, was among the day's key presenters.
Radio Uganda used to earn most of its revenue from the, unfortunately, death announcements, and you remember those announcements? That was the biggest revenue earner for Radio Uganda. The private stations came and all that revenue also went. So we shouldn't look at a national broadcaster as a revenue generating.
The Managing Director's presentation ignited discussions and praises from participants.
Welcome UBC studios to Arua.
However, what remains clear is that agencies such as Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Media Center, Uganda Media Council and Vision Group are operating in big debts.
Uganda Media Center premises is being rented at about 16 million shillings a month. We don't have that money in the budget. The PS has to look around to top up. The building is dilapidated.
As you have heard, we are not at all financed. We depend on meager earnings from a few registrations and accreditations.
It's so sad for me to tell you that since UBC was formed in 2005, because of the challenges of management and the misnomer as to how UBC would be funded, we were not remitting NSSF of the workers, neither were we paying URA, neither were we paying Gumeme, neither were we paying for all the services we were consuming. So the debt burden that we have is over and above 80 billion Uganda shillings that is already audited by Auditor General.
This was supported by the Parliamentary Committee and Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT, Dr. Amina Zawede.
Let us put a strategy in place of how we are going to approach. A war for funds is a war. We must be very careful in the way we go there, because every sector is going to pull.
Almost not funded, because if we have a budget of a budget allocation of less than 0.5%, that looks like almost no funding. So there is no way we can be able to deliver what the sector has to do if we don't have the funding for that.
State Ministers for ICT and National Guidance, Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao and Godfrey Kabyanga, graced the closing ceremony.
With this journey we have started together with you, I'm sure we shall go, we shall do a lot of work.
And we also want to appeal to you that we should look at UBC as an enabler. We shouldn't look at it as a business entity, because everybody thinks UBC should make money. If we say UBC should make money, then we shan't communicate as government.
The 2 days retreat was referred to as timely and worthy for the ministry's future. Robert Onyango, UBC.
All right, and with that, let's take a short commercial break and be back with more news tonight. Please stay tuned.
I smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home. Oh, my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together, my home. On my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama. At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too!
go! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
5 for 5, 5 times the winning, yeah. 5 times the happiness, yeah. 5 times the luckiness, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5, 5 times the money, yeah. 5 times the shopping, yeah. 5 times the prizes, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5.
Win 100,000 Uganda shillings weekly in the 5 for 5 jackpot. Simply download the Center mobile app. Click Center on the go to open your account online. Transact 5 times or more using Center Mobile, Center Visa, and Center Agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 5 for 5 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank, Centenary Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund.
Hello and welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you to the world of business. Now, Karamoja sub-region has got a new multi-million-dollar 132 kilovolt substation. Now, this station has been set up to facilitate mining activities in the area in addition to enhancing industrialization. Karamoja has formerly been served by a 33 kV power line from Soroti municipality, which was blamed for intermittent power supply. These are the details with Dennis Igor.
The 132 kV electricity substation in Moroto district is the first of its kind in the region. Now in operation, the multi-million-dollar facility comes at a time when this region is steadily attracting massive investment, especially in the mining sector.
They were connected by way of a 33 MVA all the way from Soroti all the way to this place, and the power supply was very unreliable. Now bringing this 132 kV all the way on a monopole, that is monopole from the, it has helped to stabilize the power, it has helped to ensure that there is power reliability in this region, and industries now and other companies can come and invest in this area, assured that there is reliable power supply to this region.
Electricity generation and distribution is top on government's agenda to elevate the country into the middle income status by the year 2030. Government is currently strategically intervening to address electricity disparity across the country.
This plant alone has all it takes to make sure that there is no vacuum. There is constant supply. The off-takers are there, more power is coming in, so it is a complete system. But the men and women who manage the system must be applauded. So I want to thank you so much.
I strongly believe that Moroto district and its neighboring districts of Kabong, Nakapiripirit, Amudat, that region is Uganda's next mining city.
The electricity grid from Opuyo substation in Soroti district, about 160 kilometers away, is served by the monopole. This new technology has been adopted in the recent years by Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited as a measure to curb vandalism of the electricity infrastructure.
They harvest the tower members, and some people go to the extent of even cutting the entire tower from the base. The thing falls down and it is all vandalized. And even they go to the extent of uprooting the tower foundations so that you don't see any trace that once here there was a tower. And that's a big challenge to us, the country. It is actually borders on economic sabotage. That we as citizens of this country, we should fight against.
It is estimated that the country lost at least 25 billion shillings to vandalism and power theft in 2020. The unscrupulous scrap metal dealers are blamed for the rampant destruction of electricity equipment, which has often resulted to severe power uptime. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Moroto.
And with that said, let's take a look at the weather updates with Millie Kutesa.
Thanks for tuning on UBC. Kutesa Mili with your weather update. We are still having thunder showers in most parts of the country, but mainly over the lake shores and some parts of Arua. Then the rest of the country is experiencing light showers. Due to this, we had the highest of 21.8 millimeters of rainfall across Wadalai, Kasese with 17.7, Barara with 9, Kabale with the lowest of 8.2 millimeters of rainfall. This is brought in by the widespread of rain belt over our country and over Africa, bring us the rainfall that we're having lately, not forgetting the local effects. Tomorrow morning, we expect to wake up with sunny intervals in most parts of the country, apart from some few areas like parts of Arua and along with the lake shores and some parts of the east that expect to have light showers. Afternoon hours, though, we expect a pick-up of thunder showers across the lake shores, but the rest of the country to experience light rain. Temperature rise up to 29 degrees of Celsius across Karamoja region, 28 in most parts of the country, 26 in our capital city Kampala, Kabale Highlands with the lowest of 22 degrees Celsius. He is moving out of Uganda, touring the globe. We are forecasting light rain over Nairobi and some parts of Paris with a maximum of 25 degrees Celsius across Nairobi. London with cloudy conditions. Dubai and New York with sunny conditions at a maximum of 41 degrees Celsius across Dubai. Thanks for tuning on UBC. I remain Kutesa Mili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much, Millie. And all good things end hot. That brings us to the end of our 8 o'clock edition of the News Tonight. Join us later on at 10 o'clock for a lengthier bulletin. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, and have yourselves a good night.
Brought to you by...
Participate in the 5 for 5 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank, our bank.